Recording is on.
So, hi everyone. If you're watching this, welcome to one of the many calls for the Bitcoin design community. It is the 11th of June, 2025. Nathan from BTC Pay very kindly instigated this call, and BTC Map, not BTC Pay, BTC Map. And the main goals of this call is to get some actionable recommendations on how they can improve the UX of the web app. Um, Nathan says iOS and Android might follow, and basically happy to receive all types of UX feedback. And that's it. Yeah, the main users of the website are consumers, i.e., customers of merchants. This website is currently getting about 60,000 unique visits per month, which is pretty high for a Bitcoin project.
Yeah,
So,
we have no idea because we have nothing to compare to. So maybe you guys have got a better feel of whether that's a big number or a small number, but we think it's quite significant.
that's pretty significant.
Yeah. Awesome.
And then other users are community managers, community members, and merchants. The future is to become irrelevant, and their midterm vision is to offer consumers with the best information possible to enable discovery for merchants, provide discovery to merchants to enable them to differentiate themselves through premium merchant pages. And the third goal is to provide tooling for geographic communities. The first website was in 2022, and they've improved a bunch since then.
We,
So,
we need to flash that up just for lols.
wow. Let's dive in. I'll hand it over to you, Nathan.
Yeah, well, thanks, guys. Appreciate you putting the effort in and all the prep you've done for this call. So I'm excited to see what you've come up with and what feedback you have. I'm Nathan Day. I'm one of the co-founders of BTCMap. We've got a few other members of the team on there. We're a open source project, community-led, volunteer-led. And we maintain a global data set of Bitcoin accepting merchants and try and provide people with the tooling to display those merchants in a way that's useful to them. That includes our own apps, but it also includes integrations with other wallets like Wallet of Satoshi and Aqua Wallet. And I've just come off a call with Blink Wallet as well. They'll be integrating natively into their own app as well. So yeah, providing that tooling, and we try and push the data maintenance as close as possible to the source, i.e. the local communities, so that we don't have a centralized set of maintainers. We do right now because we're still early, but the goal is to totally distribute that to be as high quality as possible, which means being as close to those merchants as possible in the real world.
Cool. And I believe some of the team is here. Saunter is here. I believe he works on it as well from a UX perspective.
So yeah, so we got Saunter, has done some UX work, and he's one of our most prolific shadowy super taggers. So he actually does a lot of data maintenance as well. And Saunter, you've been involved from very early.
Yeah, I was mostly tagging. UX-wise, there was just small contributions, but yeah, a lot of tagging. I do it for like in between work usually.
Mindfulness.
Yeah, it's a good way to contribute without if you don't know how to code, for example.
Yeah, I think you're number 2 or 3 on the leaderboard or something. We've also got Igor here, who created the initial concept and created the Android app. So he's our main maintainer of the API and the Android app. Want to say hello, Igor? Or
Hello.
there we go.
Nice to
And
meet you.
then
Thank you. Yeah.
I think Johans, is that Escaped Cat? we go by handles as well, is a guy who's recently started contributing mainly on the web app and helping us make small feature changes, but also doing the dirty maintenance work required to keep up to date with the gazillion libraries that modern web apps use.
Amazing. Yeah, should we just dive straight into it? Where would you like to
Yeah,
start?
please do. Happy to be led by you guys.
Christoph is going right through the website. I can see him there already doing the first.
Oh yeah, but I didn't prepare anything particular for this call. I didn't go through it. It seems quite big, so maybe you can guide us a little bit on where you see like some areas you would like feedback on.
Yeah.
I think that would be helpful.
Well, the main, in terms of priority, if you look at how popular our pages are, obviously the map is up there as the highest. So maybe we can look at the map. So that's the pins, plus then going into the actual merchant pages, which we have actually updated just this last week or so. So we can talk about some of the designs tweaks we made there. So maybe that's one area. And then the other area is the onboarding of merchants. So how do we get new merchants on, and how do we make that process as smooth as possible?
So just to quickly summarize, I'm just going to go back here. You'd like to look at the maps and then look at if we go into and then go into the onboarding of the merchants themselves.
Yeah, maps plus merchant pages, because that's what a end user would be most interested in. So that's one area. And then another area is the onboarding and verification of new and existing merchants, because there's a very important sort of decay factor with merchants. So we have this concept of up-to-date merchants that have been verified or re-verified within 12 months. So there's a whole issue of stale data and how do we best present higher quality data first to users so that they're not disappointed because they've turned up and a merchant stopped existing or accepting Bitcoin 2 years ago and hasn't been verified in that period.
Wow. Yeah, that's a big one. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And I'm also looking at I know Christoph is on mobile. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen here. I'm just going to just on the home page. I don't know if my screen is visible.
Yeah, we can see.
Before going into the map section here. So I haven't actually, I think Christoph is downloading the iOS, or is that the Android version
I'm just
here?
using the website. But I actually had a question here. So there's a big discussion around redenominating Bitcoin, where we get rid of Sats. And one of the arguments is that people don't know what Sats are, what Satoshis are. And you have it right in the title: find places to spend Sats wherever you are.
We do.
So it only makes sense for people who, of course, kind of know Bitcoin, and actually they need to know Bitcoin and know Sats. So I was just curious, why did you choose Sats, and what do you? I mean, I don't know, any experience, feedback, thoughts on this kind of thing about people knowing what Bitcoin is, but maybe not what Sats are?
Yeah, I think there's a low chance our users will be confused because they are wanting to spend Bitcoin. So I think it's a fair assumption to make that they will know what Sats are. Not all will, probably. We didn't put too much thought into it. I think it just kind of like flowed off the tongue better when we were discussing it initially. I remember having a discussion with Igor when we were buying domain names and stuff, and for a time we did have, I think I still do have, satsmap.org as well. But we decided to stay with BTCMap. So yeah, I mean, it's not a particularly sacred saying. We have tweaked that kind of hero intro, if you like, recently to make it more succinct. It used to be easily find places to spend sats anywhere on the planet, which was a bit of a mouthful, whereas we've now shortened that a little bit. But yeah, no strong opinions really there. Is there a strong opinion from in the design community?
Oh, it's a big discussion right now. Some people have strong opinions, that's for sure. I'm more curious about it right now. I see the long-term argument that it would be cleaner if we just have Bitcoin and not Sats or Satoshis, and maybe some people don't know what that term is, or think it's some other cryptocurrency or so. But I don't have any data to back up how big of an issue it is. What does everyone else on the call think about that?
I think Sats is like the least tricky thing here, because we don't have, for instance, a Google Play listing because we were delisted for like refusing to do KIC. So yeah, most people don't know what is F-Droid either, right? So
Yeah.
it's just, yeah,
True.
I guess there is some like intrinsic complicity, like you just like some things are just complex. We cannot kind of find a better shortcut. But yeah, personally, I don't have a strong opinion on that. So spend Bitcoins, I think that would sound fine.
Just with the homepage, I just want to dive in here. I like how simple everything is, and there's two very strong calls to action here. One is saying, okay, look, you can find all the places, and the other one is more leaning towards the merchants, which is like, oh, cool, add your location. So I really like this very strong call to action. I am viewing it on desktop. What feels a little bit sort of, how could I say, in terms of information overload is while this section here is really simple, there's just a lot of different menu options here. And
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, I always try to look at things from an information architecture point of view, like where do you want people to go? And here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different choices.
Yeah, we did a couple of things fairly recently. So we added on those call to actions, the 2 buttons that you see there, precisely because they were kind of lost in a sea of nav. So that made that discoverability easier. But then since then, we've made the nav even more complex because there are more things that you can do. So we've tried to battle with getting that nav as logical as possible, but I think it could be improved for sure. But I just don't know how.
I'm just not thinking too much here. I'm just trying to look like if you think of an about us, which tends to kind of you can use that as a bit of a draw for a few things. Maybe the blog could go in there. Maybe the support us could go in the about us. I don't know what the wiki is about.
Yeah, if you scroll to the bottom, it gets worse because we also have a bunch of other links.
Here at the bottom. Oh, so you could even put about us, and under about us you could have support us, blog. I don't know, I'm sure there's a bunch of things. Like there's an exercise which we do in UX is you could just pretty much take all of these, put them on sticky notes and try to see which ones are related to each other. I feel like this could definitely come down to even 3 or 4 headings. But maybe Saunter has some ideas since he's been the main UX designer working on this.
I think, I mean, I have different kind of problem with this landing. I mean, not problem, but one thing that is kind of hidden and I think would be good to highlight maybe on the landing page is the communities map, which is now under areas. Well, here is the community map, but under areas, if you click communities, there is also like a list or
Yeah, we did.
some...
It used to be buried. So if you go back to the page, it used to be buried under areas. Then you had to
Yeah.
navigate to communities. Then you had to click on view community map.
Yeah.
So a recent optimization we made is going back to the nav, is putting it up, because we just had map on the left before, and now we have maps plural,
Yeah.
and we promoted it to the community map there, which hopefully makes it more discoverable. But I think, Saunter, you're saying some people view that almost as useful as the merchant map, and it might need some actual home screen action.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe it could be expanded to have like, right now it's only a hero, right, with the footer. Maybe we could have two sections, one that shows merchant, just normal merchant maps, kind of describes it, and the other that describes the community map, just to highlight, because it's such a cool feature, and I think many people, even BTCMap users, casual BTCMap users, maybe not aware of the community, especially in because in the app, I think there's no way to view communities, right? In the app.
You can view communities in the Android app, not on a map, but I think it's more of a list. But yeah, we probably need to keep the review scope on the web app for this call, I think.
And regarding the navigation, like, it's kind of doubled now, right? So the maps have links to normal map and community map straight to community map. The areas have a link to this communities list. And I understand the separation because those links are not strictly linking the map. There's still one more page with so much
It's
content.
And just on those areas as well, I don't like the word areas because it's kind of a technical term that we use, but areas we currently have are communities and countries, but in the future we'll have cities and perhaps even provinces and regions and things like that. So
yeah, I wonder if there's a clean way to kind of merge it. So, I don't know. Make this access in one place, but on the other hand, I understand the straight links to maps. I don't know exactly how to solve it.
Yeah, I think it should be merged, and for me personally, it feels more like an obstacle because I have this like muscle memory when I press on this maps button. It used to lead me straight to the map, to the merchant's map, and now it just shows me this pop-up with two kinds of maps, and I never ever wanted to like look at the community map. But I think it can be more of a technical issue because we can actually just merge them. I don't see a use case for like looking at the whole world at this community level. Maybe when you zoom in, we can just find the current community that you are looking into and just show more information about that community, like in some kind of floating panel or something. So when you're discovering like a certain region, you can just get more context, something like this. So it can be merged. I like this merged idea.
It'd be interesting to have one map with like very easy way to switch to communities instead of like two links. That would be awesome, I think.
Because this is communities as well, the one that's under stats. Is this all community? Because this is like who's leading.
Well, that's more data. So that whole nav there is data around merchant adoption on the dashboard, who's the top taggers, who are the top communities. So again, as part of the redesign of that nav, we pulled community leaderboard, just like we pulled community map, outside of being buried under the community page, because you'd have to do 2 or 3 clicks to know that existed. Whereas in the nav now, it's more prominent, so it's you probably discover it more easily. But the downside of that is we've got a messy, well, not a messy, but a lot of information in our nav.
Yeah, so do I understand Jakob's point correctly, then that the homepage is very short, and that makes users having to interact with the map and hover over all of these different things and try to figure out what they are, when it might be better to make the homepage longer, have some different sections down there that then maybe they tell me, like, here are the two types of maps, here are these, check out the latest leaderboard. Maybe people get excited about being on the leaderboard or so.
Mm.
So there, things are a little bit explained and in your face a bit more.
Yeah, it's a difficult one to juggle because by far the principal use case is show me a map of merchants, and so anything that we do on the homepage that is not that
Yeah.
kind of distracts from that.
Yeah.
Good point.
And should we have this homepage? Because what I actually expected, like first time I checked this like new website with new design, I expected to see the map, but now I see this landing page. But again, Discord is doing the same. Apparently, it's like it's a fashionable thing to do nowadays.
And in terms of the maintainers, because you can add the location here as well, you could almost put, I mean, maintain is also contribute as well.
It used to be
Support.
called contribute, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also supporting us is also a form of I mean, contributions.
It is. So I'd like to lose some of that nav. The supporters is effectively, can you donate, and can you join the team that is maintaining the data.
Yeah.
I'd like to keep that as prominent as possible.
Yeah, I get that. And you could even make that a call to action in the same way that you make the add location as a call to action. This could be another whole exercise on its own. I don't want to hog the whole call with the information architecture discussion, but we can definitely move on to those sections you mentioned. But I think it's definitely worth, if the support us, if you want support us, open map and add location to be the main calls to action, then maybe it might be good to think about these ones. This is maps is almost a double hit here on the desktop version, because you can open the map here again, once again, if community disappears. So that could disappear completely. So yeah, it could be a whole exercise on its own, the information architecture. But I'm keen to
Yeah.
dive into the other areas that you discussed, because I don't want to, as I said,
So if anyone on the call wants to have a fish around in here and kind of suggest some alternatives, then we'd be open to that. We don't, I saw the chat, we don't have any kind of UX study with our users to know. All that we do have is the web impressions, and we know where our users go, but we don't
Yeah.
know where they want to go, other than by guessing.
Yeah. I mean, Jakob is. Go ahead, Christoph.
I was just going to say, I understand Igor's point about the person who knows this service and who just wants to see the local place. They just want to go straight to the map. But the website has to perform multiple duties, the homepage, that it has to make the point that this is a community, that you want. Like, first of all, someone who doesn't know it, they need to figure out what this actually is. And then they need to understand it's community driven. They can add locations. Maybe when they understand it's community driven, they also understand that it's maybe not 100% perfect. They can't expect the exact same quality of data as, let's say, Google Maps or something like that. It just sets the tone correctly for then the next step of the user. So I think this approach where you're one step away, but a very, very quick step away from the map, I find
that was the idea. Yeah.
Christoph, would you maybe like to go into because I remember, Nathan, you mentioned the merchant map being.
Yeah. So this is, once you've done that one click to get here, this is the main event effectively. What we don't do particularly well right now is give you any sense of quality. other than we show, and this is something Iger's been working on, we show the comment count. So you'll see a little number on some merchants. That's a number of comments where somebody has paid a small Lightning invoice to opine about that merchant. So we've got one there. So what we have discussed doing just this week actually is only showing merchants, or perhaps showing merchants in a different way that have been verified within the last 12 months. And then maybe have like an amber category where they've only been verified within the last, between 1 and 2 years, and then probably not showing merchants that have been verified prior to 3 years, unless a user really wants to just say, show me everything. So there's nothing around the age of verification here other than if you click on the pin, you'll see less verified. But that requires you to click on it. Whereas we might want to think about some form of recency heat mapping without making the UX too busy, too confused.
And how are you thinking of showing that? Because I'm immediately getting that there's a clear use of colors here, but I'm not quite sure what the colors mean though.
That's just density, pin density, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't think that coloring is particularly useful. So that could definitely go, which would open up some cognitive processing to interpret colors differently.
Because yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the pin colors themselves are arbitrary. We do have a category icon on there, but the actual pin color itself is currently unused.
Could it be that the green ones could be the ones that have been validated within the last year or 6 months, and then going down to yellow, and then going down to maybe, I don't know, brown or blue? Would that be an option, or is that possible on the development side? I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, we can do any of that. We'd have to. I think we should rightly lose the pin clustering coloring, because I don't think that adds much. The number gives you the information you need.
So different question. So right now you basically have to click in and out and zoom a lot on this one. If you look at something like Airbnb or so, they usually have a left-hand panel where it shows you the list, like, I don't know, Indian restaurant 2 kilometers away from you, here's all the info, and then it shows you like the 5 other places or so. And as you move around the map, as you zoom in, it updates to show kind of what's within the field of view. That way you don't have to click on all these little pins and circles there. Have you thought about that type of others? Because that seems
familiar with it,
yeah.
but no, haven't really discussed that. I think you do something similar on Android, if I remember, or no?
Similar to what?
Like a list view.
Yeah, there is a list view in search results. So if you try search, I think you will have similar view on web too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no.
regarding
in short, we don't have currently a list view next to the map view.
Because that almost seems like a shortcut, right? Where I'm loose. So there are 2 shortcuts. One is detect my location and take me there right away, and the other one just I see half the map. I kind of see loosely where things are, and on the left I see this list or grid where I can, whether it's photos or other information, I can quickly get an idea. So even when there's like little circle that says 5 on the map representing 5 different things, I still see exactly what they are very quickly. Without needing all of those interactions.
I think the closest thing to that is the community screen. So when you go to the community screen, if we can like sort of like merge them and make it one click, the navigation between like the map when you zoom in and the local community. So it would provide this UI just one click away, because on a community screen we show like the best merchants, like the most commented ones, boosted ones, and so on. So it's like the closest thing we have to this Airbnb style currently.
Yeah, not here. You need to go. Yeah, view community. Yeah, and below you have margins.
Mm, right.
No pictures,
Yeah,
but
that's a
that's a data issue. We should deal with that somehow.
yeah, that's a good idea, I think. Of course, pictures will be not possible, I guess. But another thing, I mentioned this on Discord before, that doesn't work real well is search. And I had this because I think search, correct me if I'm wrong, but it works only, it displays only if you use literal word that is used in the name of merchants. So
Mm,
if you type restaurant, it will not show you restaurants, or like it doesn't work like in Google Maps, right? Like if you type convenience store, it doesn't show you this.
Or place, if you type a
Yeah, and
city
I had
or
this real life scenario when I think in El Salvador, and someone asked me in that city when we were like San Salvador or whatever, if I can check if there are any like beauty salons that accept Bitcoin. And there's no way I could check that. Like there's
yeah.
no way I could search for the category, or literally the only way was
yeah, web. So
looking at the map and manually checking the pin if it's like the
they
bit salon pin, or like manually clicking. And yeah, I don't know if there's a way to somehow.
There is, it's a web app issue.
Yeah, it's
Like
a web
Android
app issue.
has
Yeah.
categories, and you should also translate categories. That's another problem, because like if you like default English, okay, but how do you type like restaurants in Spanish or something? So
Yeah.
uh,
So
that
we
that's
this was implemented a long time ago and is not very good for sure. I think
Mm,
now we have the search RPC IGO. We could probably straight use that, and that returns anything that's related to it. So that means that any enhancements we want to do in search, we can do once at the back end, and not have to have different clients do their own search implementations. But for example, I use search call IGOR on the admin app, and it always returns instantly the exact thing I need.
Yeah. Also, like I think it's small, right? She typed
yes.
Germany, and there's no result, right? It'd be cool to type a country or a city and click on it, and it goes to that city.
Yeah.
So here is the issue we were chasing like for maybe 2 years already. So sometimes it's just this pop-up just stuck, like loading map, and but everything is already loaded, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's frozen and I'm scared to refresh because I think I'll get kicked out of Jitsi. Oh no, can I just refresh this? Let's see what happens.
Yeah, just do that browser. Yeah.
Yeah, I've refreshed. I don't know what's happened. Let me just go
So you
back
see,
to.
it's very hard to get rid of this thing, and I got like a lot of complaints like this. Like that's our core feature, and we just cannot do it reliably, just showing merchants.
Mm. I don't know what I clicked on, but I'm just going to go back to the home page. There we go. Okay.
Parts of the world are just not discovered yet. Can't load them.
Okay, it's good now. It was just frozen for some reason.
Yeah, we're going to make some technical changes as we move to a different version of our API that's going to make performance a lot better, like
Yeah.
orders of magnitude better. But that's coming soon, TM.
But that's a good point from Jakob um, about the search functionality. Yeah, ties in with what Christoph said as well. So maybe the whole search functionality and the whole mapping can be one targeted redesign and redevelopment process in one, because you really hyper focus on just one section, which is the core of what you do. Then the a showcasing of all the different restaurants. This could very easily be like a half split screen, the same way they do it with Airbnb, because it is, if someone is like here in Valencia, they're not going to be needing to look at all of the other places. They're going to want to be hyper focused on one area.
And
Yeah,
I wonder if in this view, like if we have this view that is that shows the list of merchants and is easily toggleable, for example, to toggle or show communities, we could probably incorporate like links that are currently in the navbar somewhere in the interface. And some of them, they're actually in the interface, but there are these small buttons with like small icons that are maybe not that easily understandable until you click it. I wonder if, for example, if there is a view, I zoom in one country and there is a view of merchants in that country or in that community, there could be a button to like open country page or open community page. So instead of then going from the main landing page to the list of communities and then finding a community, or instead of going list of countries and then finding country, those links could be also when you're like zoomed in that area. Maybe I don't know how difficult that's technically, but
and how would they be presented? So, say I zoom into Sidefall or wherever we are now.
I mean,
What
the basic view could be like Paul said, like this kind of Airbnb list of merchants.
okay, so
They could be
communities as well.
like a bar, like a small top bar, like on the top of this merchant of this houses here. They could be like, oh, you're viewing, I don't know, Polish community, and a button to view the community page, which would open a separate page.
Okay.
Or you can say, yeah. So you can also like highlight meetups. It's not only about merchants, right? So that can be like a soft way of introducing communities, because our communities are based around meetups. Like that's like one of the core requirements, I think. Like you have to do meetups.
And meetups and
Yeah.
conferences. So anything that is geographically relevant to where you are on the map, regardless of what it is, should be then presented in that list view. Yeah.
And I think this is a general good direction. We should, I mean, this is my personal opinion, but like merging the communities and normal merchants looking experience as close as possible, because that increases the community's value in general. So the communities, when they see all those tools and all those links in normal experience, they'll probably be more inclined to also maintain it, and people will use it more, I think. So
yeah, I agree, and that was the intention with raising the visibility of this map in the nav. But I think if you just bake it in a non-invasive way into the main map view, then that's great. If you want to then just look at merchants separately like this, then you can do through filters or layers or whatever.
that's of course tricky, because this map is often embedded in external apps, right, in wallets. So whatever we change here, we need to keep in mind that it's displayed in different apps as a embedded website, basically.
Yeah, I have an idea there. I think we probably need to have the BTCMap web app, which is all the things we're discussing now, and then I think we need a super simple merchant map that changes less frequently in terms of features. The wallet providers embed that version, so we
Makes
kind of
sense.
have a fast, lightweight version. And if people want to learn more, they can then hand off to the website. That's my personal thoughts on that.
That makes sense, I think.
Cool. So there's the kind of the Airbnb style idea coming through, Because then even with an Airbnb style, you could click filter, and then similarly how they have here, you could have communities, you could have restaurants, and I don't know what the other categories are. um,
Yeah, something we're discussing right now. It's a bit of a hot topic, but yeah, there is some level of categorization that we can do, but it needs maintenance.
yeah. And at the very top level, it would just be communities and restaurants, I guess, or communities and locations, if you want to keep it just, I mean, locations is a bit too broad as well.
Merchants. So
Merchants, yeah.
we've got this. It really does feed into what we have planned to do with services as well. So for non-physically located merchants that don't have a place but do operate within an area, a community. So if you're a plumber that works at home, but you don't want to put your home address on the map,
Mm-hmm.
and you might say, I'm a plumber within London. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you would zoomed in on London, you'd want to see the London community, and you'd also want to see services that were targeted at that community as well. So that brings a neat way of adding services in without having yet another page that's not a map to say, here's the list of services under a community, because you basically get everything you need on a sidebar to the main map.
Yep. Makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Yeah. Christoph, anything?
Yeah, no, I was just wondering if just how people use it. The big layout with the sidebar obviously only works on desktop on a or even on a tablet or so, a larger screen. But still, the combination or the toggle back and forth between a list and a map, or potentially both of them, seems like a very, very practical way to combine a bunch of this data, where people don't have to go to all these different pages and dig around, but brings it all together. Of course, you need to make sure the interaction model comes together well. Something I was wondering is so the area in the map and whatnot, when people don't find anything, those are great opportunities to ask them to maybe add a location. Do you have some of those prompts in there maybe?
We don't at the minute. I'm just trying to think that one through. I'm just wondering what the chances of somebody browsing an area.
Yeah, I mean, there are two things, right? Once it makes them aware that this is a community directory, whether they contribute or not, and then there's the chance that they may actually know a place or that they may want to get active and contribute to it.
Well, I think that would be really good use of the sidebar, because it'd be empty if you're zoomed in on that location. So that would be a really good place to put a prompt to at least ask the question, because they might be a local who zoomed into an area and they know there's a place and it doesn't exist. So what do they do then? They have to, go back through the nav or whatever. It'd be nice just to have that there, add merchant directly on an empty screen if they knew one.
Are you going to be in Prague next week?
Yeah,
Are you attending the Dev Hack Day?
I am. Yeah, I'm speaking in the afternoon, I think.
Oh, awesome! Because we were just discussing doing user testing setups in the evening, and we're just discussing which projects might want to be around for doing user testing. So if you want to
This
do
one.
user testing, then you can get a whole bunch of Bitcoiners potentially to give some input directly.
They can tell us how ugly our baby is.
No,
Yeah,
it's
let's
not
go.
ugly. It's not in the least. It's just for me, it feels like the just hyper focus on improving the UX around navigation is just going to open up a big can of worms.
I agree. Yeah.
That's it, pretty much. It's UX improvements.
And it's
around-
also stuff like, how often do you use it? Have you used it? Do you usually find something? What do you typically look for? Is it the ATMs? Is it the coffee shops? Is it maybe is it meetups?
I
Is it
mean,
something else? Just that.
If we can do that, that would be amazing. There's a comment here in the chat earlier around stop from Kate. I don't know if Kate's on, but you stop guessing. So we do a lot of guessing, but we also, people tell us what they want occasionally. But if we could have a more focused walkthrough, and you're looking for a project to do that with in Prague, then yeah, 100%, that'd be amazing.
It's very easy to set up. We've just done it with 2 other projects just 2 weeks ago. We did it with a Noster one, and we did it with Noster communication tool. We did it with a Dana wallet as well.
Okay.
It's very easy to set up.
But yeah, we could do an in-person one if that's what you're looking for as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. That's what we. Cool. Let's chat about that after the call.
There's a whole, you could definitely just do, if you do just even only focusing on the homepage, that's going to, or you give them a task and you say, okay, I'm now you're a merchant. I want you to add yourself, add a new location, or now you're a user. I want you to imagine that you're in Spain and I want you to try to find this place in Spain and see how many people you could go to there. And you give 2 clear tasks, one from the merchant perspective, one from the the person looking for a merchant perspective, and you just do 5 tests each, and then you'll get all the information you need. And then I would say don't even trust what we say, because you'll get the truth from the people who you show.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, well, they might not be good at coming up with the solutions, but you'll definitely get a sense for how they relate to the product, what's working for them and what isn't.
Yeah. So I don't know how long we have on this call, but we talked about 2 main areas, and you picked up on the second of those, which was the adding of a location. Mm-hmm. Now we've got some unique problems there because, if you just go to the ad page, you'll see, because we use OpenStreetMap as an underlying database, and we want the data to be basically a commons that other people can maintain, then we did this about a year or so ago. We used to have the web form below. If you scroll down, that used to be the top, and people would fill that out. But then we're trying to push people to maintain the data directly on OpenStreetMap themselves. And I know we all think that's really simple from a BTCMap perspective, but there's a 5-minute video there showing you how to do it, right? So it's most users of our website, I think it's a bit like when you point your users to a GitHub repo. We're effectively pointing our users to an OSM database and saying, go and edit that yourselves, which has friction. They've got to create an OSM account. They've got to be familiar with the tagging system. So yeah, I think the aim is to get more taggers, but that's balanced with not scaring off new people who just want to add something quickly. So if you fill out that form, that generates a ticket on our ticketing system, and then one of the community of shadowy super taggers, as we call them, will then add that to OpenStreetMap directly themselves. So they're the 2 options. But yeah, I'm not particularly happy with this page, and it's our second most important function, I'd say.
What are you not? And also, I'm noticing here there's the use of Bitcoin, and then the homepage there's the use of the word sats. What are you not happy about this page? Mainly this friction point here.
Yeah, and there's different opinions on this. It'd be interesting. Well, I hear from users all the time that OpenStreetMap's difficult for them to, use. If they want to add one location, then there's a whole load of pain they've got to go through to get that added to OSM directly.
Yeah, I understand the dilemma here, but I would focus more on the form and focus more on allowing people to add without the account.
What we used to have on this page, and it's still in the Figmas, if you've got access to them, so on to is we had like a 2 panel. So there was I think we called it the noob form. It was like, get going quickly here on the left, or become a shadowy super tagger on the right, so that you immediately had a choice to make, rather than being hit with a 5-minute video unless you scroll down and see the form. So maybe reverting back to somewhere, some middle ground there would be useful.
I have a question there because we only have a few minutes left. So some things are just a little bit tedious and you can't change things about them. You can make it a little bit more convenient, but fundamentally you can't change things. It's just the nature of some things. But I guess my question is it so bad that people get stuck and give up? Or is it just a little bit of inconvenience, but they deal with it?
We don't know. We've got no metrics.
Well, you can get some metrics literally next week, and that'll answer all of your questions. I mean, you know,
Yeah, I mean, people are motivated sometimes, well, within those environments to go through it. I have no idea what our kind of exit rate is on this page. What's our convert? Well, we've got no metrics on that.
Yeah, I think if you break down the form into multiple steps, then you can track that a little bit better. So you can see at which step people drop off if they enter the flow at all.
Yeah.
So it feels like, just as a quick summary, it feels like the areas to focus on would be the navigation, which we picked up on early on in the call about talking about this, these headings here, these submenus here and main menus. So it feels like navigation could even just be one project on its own, and another one on its own could just be the merchant map on its own.
Yeah.
Going Airbnb style. So that's the second area. And then the third area would be a really focused sprint on this page on its own.
Onboarding, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
onboarding merchants, yeah.
I think there's an interim step, which is make the current process as slick as possible, and maybe get some measure points in there to understand where people drop out. And then in the future, if I'm a merchant who wants to accept Bitcoin, then we're going to start then having direct relationships with merchants, and they'll come here first in many cases to say, right, I now want to start accepting Bitcoin. And so the onboarding of a merchant becomes much bigger than just adding them to the map. It's, what wallet do I use? What education? Where do I get my sticker packs from? And more things. So I think, if we can make it better now and have a good foundation to make it, I guess, more built out and fuller later.
But this is considering the number of visits that you guys get per month. I mean, it's working. So I think if you just continue to improve it, you'll probably just end up increasing the number of people that are visiting it. So yeah.
Yasha's raised his hand.
Yes, yeah. I raised my hand a couple of times actually, so
right.
Yeah, sure.
I might talk about stuff like you guys talked about 20 minutes back, but the call is ending, so I quickly wanted to get a couple things in there. So I think first one, maybe I can frame this as a question, is like BTC map. Like at the end of the day, it is a map, and like people want to do similar things overall that users want to do with Google Maps or Apple Maps or any other mapping application. So like this doesn't sound like something totally new. Like a lot of these problems have been solved, right? So like, did you guys think about that approach? Like we are just gonna try and copy paste what Google Map has done or Apple Maps has done. because they both seem to have arrived at a very similar interaction model in general.
Yeah, I think we should definitely use those guys as inspiration for any map redesign. I mean, it's the same as the Airbnb style, right? They're all panels with lists next to maps, right?
Yeah, and another quick thing I would like to say is like, uh, this is like related to the homepage. Of course, like uh, all the information architecture and all those points I think are very valid points. But something that I just thought of is that like the entry point into any maps application for me is that I go to the app and there is a search bar there, and I just search in it, and the search just takes me to the right thing. If I type in the name of it takes me to there. If I type the name of a location, it just finds it in the search. And that is like that one thing that I want to do.
Yeah, I
If
agree. I agree
so,
with
just
that.
have that
So
maybe on the
on the map,
homepage.
the search. So once you're in the map, and we've talked about why that's one click
Yeah,
more than it could be,
yeah.
search you have to click on now. So I think once we fix search being make it a bit better, I think that just should be an omnibox up there forever, and because
Yeah.
most people just directly go to that, so we can make that always visible, I think.
And maybe the search box can be on the homepage, because most of the people, I'm assuming here. So again, like Kate was saying, don't assume things and talk to people, right? I mean, that is definitely important. But I guess most of the people are like, I go to the website, I search for something, that's it.
Yeah, that'd be great. And that the call to action is, yeah, just a big search box saying
Yeah.
find. If you look at the words above, it's find places to spend sats, right? So let's just put a
Yeah.
big search box under it.
Yeah.
And as we come to the wrapping up the end of the call, because I see it's 1 minute past now. So here's what I would suggest. This is an open source project. You have full access to the Bitcoin design community. We discussed three main areas. We discussed the first area being information architecture. We discussed the second area being adding the location. And we discussed the third area as being the mapping, the way the design is. You could go into BTC Prague, you could do some tests, you could find out get the data, get the insights from the test, bring that data back to the Bitcoin design community, and then just post in the UX channel and be like, hey, we're BTC Maps. These are the problems we've identified from these pages. And then people are just going to come hop in and, make some suggestions.
Sounds great.
So I would really, I hope that sounds like, I know I think in a different way, but I hope that sounds very sort of
No,
structured in terms of steps.
yeah, I think those three areas are the ones to focus on.
Yeah. Do some tests, get some data, bring the data back to the community, ask the community to provide redesign help based on the data. Bob's your uncle. Done.
And so do we just write that up with some help from you guys, or do we just ball right in there? Or how does that work, or should we take that offline and discuss it in Prague?
The usability testing plan.
Well, the actual sort of process, the workshop, and then how we boil that down so that we can give designers information that they can then suggest designs based upon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually leaning into using my phone to do AI note taking now. So while this is all fresh in my head, I'll literally just talk into my phone after this call, and then I'll just get it put into a Google document, and then I'll just share it with you guys.
Okay.
And then we can just keep on going from there. I mean, you have Saunter, who's an very experienced UX designer, and you have access to the whole community. There's UX designers there who help you async, to continue the improvement and the design process. That includes Christoph and I. And maybe if it comes around to doing more calls and there's a hyper focus on one area, maybe we could do that too.
Okay.
So yeah, let's just take it from there. I don't know how everyone else feels about that.
That sounds great. Do you set up like a channel for each project so that all the conversations are kind of contained, or is it just a free-for-all on the main?
We used to do project-specific channels, but we noticed that some of the channels end up dying down, and then there's no communication in them.
Okay.
You're likely to get more visibility on your project if you post in the UX channel or if you post in the general channel. If you have a sub-channel, you get less visibility unless someone's like really interested in the project. So there's definitely more visibility in the other channels. So yeah.
Okay, awesome.
So I'll just voice note this. I'll just use AI, get it into sort of a UX strategy planning document, and let's just keep on going. I mean, you guys have, and it would be good to get that usability testing plan together before Oslo. Saunter, I don't know if you're able to put that together using the Bitcoin UX research toolkit. Here we go.
The research plan for Prague?
Yeah, just put together some usability testing. Put together, I'm just going to drop the link here. Just put together usability testing plan, basic usability testing plan for BTC Prague.
And so I guess we'll test the current version, not any design solutions proposed,
Yeah.
because there's no time to really propose anything.
No. And just feel free to share it with me. I mean, we only have like 3 days. I mean, it just takes you it should take you an hour to put that together.
Yeah.
It doesn't take very long.
Let's decide offline what do we want to focus on. Do we test 2 of those? There were like 3 issues, right? Do we test 2 or 1 or 3?
Yeah.
We can take it offline.
Yeah. And Nathan, I'll just voice note it and I'll get that over to you guys, and we can just keep on keep on moving it forward.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you so much for the trust.
Well, it's great to get more experts involved. We've kind of grown pretty organically, and we'll continue to do so. So it's nice to have more eyes on the prize.
Happy to be of help. Happy to help you guys, and have fun in BTC Prague. I won't be there, but thanks for the trust, and I'm sure you guys are gonna do some amazing usability tests, and it's gonna be very informative. I'm sure of it. So,
awesome.
yeah.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Mo. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.